So hello fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And all the great ones started young. If we look around or we really investigate the paths that some of the most prominent people in different fields have followed, we'll realize that many of them started really young. And I'll go into that in a moment. Again, my name is Earthling64 yada yada yada, and I'm a guy who likes to talk about stuff. I have a little bit of military experience, I have a little bit of travel experience, I have a little bit of education, and I have a little bit of self-confidence when it comes to trying out things that other people say I probably shouldn't try. And that's me for now. Now, all the great ones. Dave Chappelle, Bill Gates, Wolfgang Amadeus, the YouTuber called Mr. Beast. All of these people have something in common, which is that they're very prominent in their fields. And funny thing is, I did not realize how young some of these people started in their respective fields. Bill Gates himself started programming when he was in high school. He had a very unusual access to one of the first available mainframes, a mainframe that he shouldn't have been really had access to, but he was able to start practicing programming as a teenager, and that's where it led. He was on the, not even the cutting edge, beyond the cutting edge with respect to somebody especially of that age and their access to any kind of computer technology. And this is where it led to. It led to him, when the opportunity came up with respect to IBM and creating an operating system, he had the past experience to make him feel very confident that he was going to be able to succeed in that endeavor. Because ultimately, most people won't try if they don't have enough background in a thing. Dave Chappelle, and I might even add, Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs. Dave Chappelle, his mother actually drove him to comedy clubs. That was like out of my mind. This was at his acceptance speech for an award that he got, I think, with respect to comedy. And he was saying his mother was suggesting to him as they drove home one night that, hey, maybe you want to have a few less dick jokes. To me, that's almost unimaginable that a parent would be actually not only just providing transportation, but sitting there and listening to the jokes that many people might find to be, obscene, and suggesting advice. But when you look at it, Dave Chappelle now is on another level when it comes to comedy, compared to many other comedians. If you look at Michael Jackson as well, he started from a very young age, especially compared to his brothers and sisters, in performing. And because of that, he was able to absorb so much more of perhaps the skill, of the talent, the ability to entertain. And it's just, if you look at Wolfgang Amadeus, he was performing at, I think it was 4 years old. So for most people, and I'm beginning to think that I may have done a recording on this issue before, but many people think that, okay, young kids, it's time for them to laugh and run around and play and have fun. And childhood, this newly contrived thing that we call childhood, people think that it has been around for however long. It hasn't. Childhood has definitely not been around for however long. I mean, child labor was going on in the days of Oliver Twist, before schooling was available. And at those times, especially with respect to kids in rural areas, you just had to fall in line, and as soon as you could hold a pail, you were going to fetch water. As soon as you could pick fruit or reap the crops, you were going to be involved in that. Whatever it was that the family did to make money, if it was a circus, if it was entertainment, if it was, subsistence farming, if it was hunting, whatever it was, kids were involved in this even before they could walk. Mom would be out in the fields, perhaps tilling the fields or reaping the crops with a baby tied to her because she had nowhere else to leave the baby. So, and I mean, when you think of hunter-gatherers, I really, really would have liked to see what they did with their kids, because you certainly would not have had this childhood where we say, you want to keep the kids away from dangerous situations, but you also realize that because of disease, because of accidents, that you could not protect your kids from the world. And I guess as a result of vaccinations, as a result of hospitals, and being able to safeguard kids, we have been able to safeguard them from labor, which maybe it's a good thing to prevent them from being exploited and used, maybe in mines, in small places where a kid might be suited. I think there was a kind of a horrible movie about that train, about the earth that had, I guess people were trying to change climate change, and they ended up making the earth a wasteland, a cold wasteland, and there was a train that would just travel on the tracks in a big, huge loop. And they used children in small parts of the engine in order to do things. They basically used the kids as spare parts. In a scenario like that, where kids might be used because of their size and abused, definitely, you want to protect kids from that. But the whole point of reproduction is to adapt children to new circumstances, to adapt a species to new circumstances. You have your nascent period where you are young and malleable. You can see and observe the environment that you're in and make the mental programming changes that are necessary to adapt to this new world, even as your parents, who should already have been adapted to the current world, are able to provide something of a safe space for you to adapt even better than they have, because species need to continually adapt. But at the same time, once you have adapted, you probably need to maintain some of your habits. And there's that toss-up, right? And that's why we need kids. If things have changed drastically, the kids are going to absorb those changes and act accordingly. And the parents, if things have not changed quite that much, they're going to be able to have a lot of kids because they're going to be able to raise all of them in a relatively safe space, because they understand this environment or as much as it can be, and you have a lot of kids. If it is an environment that needs constant adaptation, then hopefully the kids are going to be relatively safe and be able to adapt to the situation. And the people, I guess, who are not shielded from learning how to make a living or learning a skill from a very young age, or at least famous people, many people who've done well in their different fields, seem to have come from people who were able to, as in the case of Bill Gates, get a lucky break ahead of everybody else in a particular field that is just now beginning to come of age. And or there might be people who have a head start on learning the same way that all these other kids are learning to, oh, what do you want to be? Well, at 16 now you're going to choose what you want to be, I guess, and now you're going to go down that path to become a firefighter or to become a policeman. Well, what if you started when you were 12? You started thinking, then you're going to be more malleable. Then you might have a different perspective, being somebody who is smaller and someone who can't use their brawn. You might have a different perspective on a particular situation that might be even more useful when you become an adult, because then you're not completely using your brawn in every situation. Maybe you're thinking, okay, as a kid, this particular method worked. And as you grow in size, all of those different perspectives based on your size, you're basically collecting a toolkit of things that you can use. That, okay, when you're a kid, there you can use your cuteness. When you get a little bit older, maybe you can start using your words. Maybe you can start using your charm. As you get older still, then you can start using what people think of your maturity or anything else along those lines. So I think that there is a lot of opportunity for many people to rise above whatever station that they are in life, because most people are not wealthy. That's how the pyramid goes. There's a lot of people at the bottom. And I think that one of the tools that people at the bottom can use to become more successful in life is to start honing a particular skill from a younger age and not squandering the ability to adapt and pick up cues and information and habits faster and at a more unconscious level than other people. Because the longer you've been doing something, the more those things are unconscious habit, which means the faster and the more efficiently you can do those things. Which means that when you compare two 30-year-olds, one who's been doing something from when they were 12, another one who decided to pick that career when they were 16, 20, 22, who is going to be more successful? The one who's been doing it from when they were 12, because a lot of the things that they need to do, whether it's dancing, acting, programming, comedy, whether it's music, a lot of the skills that they need to use, it's not even conscious anymore. I mean, when you think about how we think, we don't know how we think. It's just, we just remember something. We think about something and remember it. Imagine if we had to think about how to remember something and not just remember it. Imagine if we had to think about how to walk and not just do it. Imagine if we had to think about how to breathe. What would we have the space and capacity for in a conscious level to do? But there would be a lot fewer things that we would be capable of doing, because we would have to be concentrating on all of these different things at any given moment. So, but I think I went too far down this road. I really wanted to talk about the fact that, yes, all the great ones started from an early age, but All the great ones started now, because what you do now is the habit that you're making. If you postpone doing something, that's the habit that you're fostering, a habit of postponing things. Anyway, that's it for me. I guess I'll have to talk about that other stuff on another one. So, like, comment, subscribe, dislike, stop listening, whatever it is that suits you. But please keep in mind that hopefully you would do the same that you would want someone to do if this were your recording. Have a good one. Peace.